Welcome to Stagecoach Road Sewing Machine. Today we're going to show you the Morse Fotomatic manual zigzag, really high quality Japanese machine from looks like about the late 50s. Let's turn on the light here. Nice little deal. This machine has a class 15 bobbin underneath. Really common setup. Regular old class 15 bobbin like you can get at any fabric store. Regular old Singer or Schmetz needles. This machine is a manual zigzag. That means when it's zigzagging, the whole undercarriage moves in time with the needle. Pretty fascinating. You're going to want to put this machine in a case or a cabinet while moving parts. If you can't do that, just don't put your hands under there. Okay, so first of all, let's thread it up. Wind a bobbin. That's what we gotta do first. The little curlicues and around the bobbin tension disc and through a bobbin hole. Pick one. Doesn't matter. Really, it doesn't. Put it on the spindle. Push that down. Let's make sure our wheel's disengaged. And let's wind a bobbin. And we're not going to wind the whole bobbin. But if we did, it would click off automatically when it was full. We don't need a whole bobbin. I'm just going to show you a little bit about the machine here. Take your bobbin case, your left hand. Doesn't matter if you're left-handed or right-handed, just do it like this. Take it in your left hand. Your bobbin with the thread hanging off away from you. Put it in there. A little edge, a little nick in the edge here. Lead it under this flat spring till it clicks. And now your bobbin is in your bobbin case. Now we're going to put it in the sewing machine. Again, still holding it in your left hand. The object is to get it in here and onto the little stud. Give it a push. Click. Let that thread hang loose. Close the side plate. Okay, now we're going to thread the top. There. Through the little pigtail. Through the tension discs. And the little spring there. A little check spring there. Now, don't mind if you missed that part. This machine comes with its original instruction manual. Continuing on here. Tighten that up from winding the bobbin. Clean the thread end. And I'll poke. Circle. Down, up, down. There's that opens so you can change your light bulb. Put that out. You can also see that threading point. And that threading point. And that one. And then we're down to the needle, which on this machine threads from the outside to the inside. Your needle is sitting in the machine with its flat side facing that way. You know, a sewing machine needle has a flat thing on top. Okay, now let's close this again. Holding your thread, turn the hand wheel towards you, always towards you on these machines, and you will raise your lower bobbin thread. Now we're ready to sew. This machine can handle a wide variety of fabrics. Let's start with some common Oxford broadcloth here, like you would make a shirt or a dress. Let's just put 2 layers in. Now, this is a zigzag sewing machine. We want to be sewing straight right now. And we are, because we can see in our zigzag guide window, we are on 0 with a picture of a straight stitch. Yay! Here's our stitch length indicator. Nice little window here, 5 stitches per inch, all the way up to buttonhole stitches, clearly marked there. Let's put it on 12. That's a regular for this kind of fabric. This is your reverse, right there, for locking seams. Feed, normal. Just going to pull it through. Well, let's just sew a stitch. Cruising along here. Now this machine sews at what's called left needle position. When it's sewing straight stitch, the needle's all the way to the left, not in the center as on some machines. You can see that the presser foot reflects this, how the thread notch is to that side. Let's just do a little more straight stitch here. Reverse. Another reason you want to put it in the cabinet, it doesn't move. Got a nice stitch, top and bottom. A couple different ways to get a zigzag on here. If you just want a little instantaneous zigzag, look at that. Just pushing this button on top, and you can push it all the way to its full width. Oops, as we did there, which is too wide for this fabric. Or you can just push it. Now that's most handy for making buttonholes. Sit this on buttonhole, and you want to be using your buttonhole foot with that. That's how you would get your quick switch of your stitch length without having to stop and change the zigzag every time. If you want to lock the machine in straight stitch, push this button in and slide it all the way over. Now you're locked on straight. That's where you should be when you're on straight stitch. Lock it down there. Push it in, let it come all the way over. Now you've got an option of several different zigzag widths, which you get by pushing and turning. Indicator knob moves, and there you go. Make it really close together zigzag for like applique and stuff, or apart. So that's how the whole zigzag mechanism on this machine works. You'll find complete instructions on how to use zigzag function to make buttonholes, to applique different patterns in this great original instruction book. Very nicely done. Now let's show you, just go back to straight here, show you what kind of fabrics you can deal with on the Morse that balanced on top and bottom. Let's lock it back to straight stitch. 0, 0. About 10 stitches per inch. 4 layers of regular farmer overalls. Not a problem. Let's double that over maybe. Let's turn it around. 4 layers of denim, not a problem. Let's try 8. Which is what's going to happen when you're trying to sew across seams making a denim article. Pretty good high presser lift on this thing too. Look at that. Look at that. No problem. Starts right up. Got a lot of space under the foot there. Really high lift. So it did good on shirting weight fabrics. Great. 8 layers of denim. This is really dense bonded leather from a coat. We don't even have a leather needle in, but we're just going right through that. Hey, let's yeah. Let me show you a few other features here. Say you want to do free motion embroidery or mending. There's a Patch-O-Matic here. You push the outer ring. You've got no tension on your foot, just barely. Okay, let's drop the feed too. We've got 3 settings here. Normal, silk, and tack. Tack drops the feed, just like that. No extra plates to put on. Now, you're moving it. Decoratively, or to mend a hole. Right? So my dad used to mend like this. See, the machine's not moving the thread, but you are. This is called free motion stitching. The machine does very well at that. Balance tension. Okay. So you're sewing on really lightweight fabric. You can put this on silk. And this just a little bit down. Now the machine will feed the fabric, but very lightly. You can stop it. Normal sewing, like for the denim and leather and pretty much everything you're going to do, you'll want your feed regular. and you tend the pressure on the foot about halfway. Again, in the instruction manual, there's a lot of information about how to use that, but this is a really easy machine to drop the feet on. So if you're doing free motion quilting applique, great feature. Always when you stop with your take-up lever and your needle at their highest position, and you'll never have a thread tangle underneath. The bed's got a few little biffs on it here, but that shows it's been well sewn with. It doesn't detract from the performance in any way. Point out one more nice feature here. It's got a marked throat plate, 3/8, ½ inch, 5/8, completely marked. Again, really handy for piecing quilts. Tension. 2 spool pins. If you want to, check this out. They click down in, so you can fit it in a case without breaking them off. Really neat, handy Japanese innovations. So there it is, the Morse MZZ push-button zigzag Fotomatic sewing machine. In addition to the instruction manual, all original, you do get some attachments. You get a ruffler, bias binder, narrow hammer, darning foot, really especially handy for sewing on buttons in free motion, invisible zigzag foot, and a buttonhole guide. These are all in an extra foot screw. So all these things are also included. Regular needles and regular class 15 bobbins from your fabric store. You are good to sew.